today we are going to teach number 1, number 2. All right, if the child can already recognize numbers, you can actually think about what we can put on this ping pong ball, okay, to introduce any other lessons to the child. I'm only going to give you the ideas or methods how to do this. Okay, we have ping pong ball, we have microwave containers, all right, from to the medium to the small, and we also have marbles. Okay, so we are going to introduce numbers. Okay, to introduce numbers, we don't need too many things, as I said, it will distract the child. All right, so okay, let me tell you, even though we have ping pong ball, okay, here we can teach big and small. All right, since I said I'm going to teach numbers, but because I have so many so many materials at home, okay, we can actually introduce big and small. Okay, big and small, and then matching big to big, small to small. Okay, you can actually introduce this. All right, since we have all these materials, you can actually introduce. Okay, now this is big, this is big, this is small, this is small. So you can actually introduce matching big to big, small to small. You can introduce this, or you can even ask them to child sequence it according to what you have on your side. All right, so the child can actually follow. All right, from the big to small, it's just like sequencing it. Okay, you can do that. You can also introduce games. All right, games, since I said got ping pong ball. All right, so you can actually, all right, roll and roll and roll and roll and roll and roll, and where it goes. Okay, so the child have to use colored ball so that the child cannot see where's the ball has placed. All right, so you can actually introduce too many things with the material you have in the house. You have to be more creative to introduce lesson to special child, because when it comes to special children, they always look forward some fun learning and interesting learning and things like that. So by teaching big, small, big, small, probably they get bored or they get sleepy or they don't really pay any attention, because big, small, so it won't give them any sort of interest of looking forward in what's happening. Okay, so what you can do now is, okay, you have two containers. All right, as I said, since you have few materials, but you can do a lot of lessons here. All right, so you can actually put here number 2, number 1. All right, or you can put number 2 and number 1. All right, you can put this as a number 1. You can also come out like this. Little confusing, but this is how you see things outside there, right? How we introduce number 1, how we introduce number 2, and things like that. So you definitely will have this material at home. Don't throw it, reuse it for your lessons. Okay, now this is the way I am going to introduce the numbers, but you can actually use this same method to introduce colors, to introduce objects, to introduce games, and so many things. All right, just look at the method how I'm going to do it, then use the same method to introduce any other goals that you have for the child. All right, so now previous lessons of mine has taught you how to match colors to colors, colors to word, and things like that, right? So now you will give the child number 1, and the child supposed to place it in number 1 and number 2 into number 2. All right, again we are going to use the same sequence, number 1 into number 1, number 2 into number 2. You can even use same containers so that the child don't get confused. Write the same numbers here on the containers and everything looks same. Okay, why we give all the materials look same? So that the child won't pick a specific method that they recognize the numbers or the colors and things like that. So everything looks same. You just need to give a child, okay, number 1 to number 1, number 2 to number 2. All right, number 1 to number 1, number 2 is number 2. Okay, you can even use written words. Okay, written words to the child, things like this, right? You can introduce this to the child by giving written words like this, and you can actually ask the child to put number 1 into number 1 and number 2 into number 2. It's also matching. All right, as I said, after you have done introducing the numbers to the child, you can actually use worksheets. All right, whatever you have taught them verbally, you can put it on work paper and give them to do it. Okay, you can actually do this. Number 1. Okay, make sure the numbers that you introduce has to be same. Okay, the font, the font 1. Okay, 1 and 2. All right, so now you can actually tell the child either stick it. Okay, all right, this is number 1, this is number 2, right? So you can actually tell the child to drop number 1 into number 1, number 2 into number 2. You can cut this number 1 and this number 2 into few pieces. As I said, we always must have a target of our lesson, right? So you can actually have a target 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10. So you can cut 1 like this 5 pieces, 2 like these 5 pieces, and you just use the same method I taught in my previous lessons. Okay, 1, 2. All right, and you can use the same thing to words. 1, 2. All right, and then you change, alternate the place these containers. Then you will again need to ask them, where is number 1? All right, where is number 2? All right, so this is another method that we can teach a child. Okay, now to go to the first stage of learning numbers. All right, the first stage of learning numbers is very important. Before we go into words, before we go into the number, all right, we actually would introduce the quantity of the numbers. Okay, marbles are very dangerous. The child probably will take and swallow or whatever, but if the child is ready and understand about the danger, and also don't danger themselves by swallowing this one or putting inside the ears or whatever, so you can use marbles. Okay, this is small marbles. You can actually give them big marbles. Okay, so this is number 1, you put number 1. This is number 2, you put 2 marbles. Okay, so 1, 2. Right, again, so this is number 1, you put 1. Okay, this is number 2, 1, 2. Okay, again, sometimes you have to play or introduce the lesson as though you are in a movie acting out. So you have to act it out so that the child will respond better to your lesson. Okay, 1. Okay, 1, I put 1 marble. 2, I put 1, 2. I am not doing this here. Again, see how I repeat. 1, 2. Wrong. Okay, you must go back to the level of the child. Okay, if it's 1, 1. If it's 2, 1, 2. All right, after some time, After the child have achieved 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can do this. Alright, 1 go into 1, 2 object go into 2, and 3 go into 3, 4 go into 4. Okay, this is the highest level that you can introduce later part. But for the beginners or for those who have achieved numbers, you can introduce this manner, because all this method can help them to do addition, subtractions, multiplication, and things like that. All right, now so again 1, 2, all right, and you can actually alternate again. All right, 1, 1, 2. All right, so this how you teach a child. Okay, as I said, you can also use the same container with the different numbers. All right, so you put the 1. Okay, you can put number 1 here. All right, number 1 here, and you can introduce the child. Okay, 1 goes to 1, 1, 2 goes to 2. Okay, you can also introduce 1. No need to remove the marble, just leave that marble there. And sorry. Okay, 1, 1, 1. Okay, you see, 2, 2. All right, so now I'm going to introduce another one. 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, I'm just giving ideas. This one can be another day of lesson. This one can be another day of lesson. Marble can be another day of lesson. So try not to confuse the child by showing so many methods or so many targets or goals and one go. Okay, so one day you can just teach them how to match number 1 numbers. Okay, only this number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 until number 10. Okay, then you can introduce this 1, 2. Okay, and then goes until 10, 11, 12, all these things, right? And then you also can teach them marble, 1 marble, right, 2 marbles. Okay, so you can introduce that like on different days. Okay, now that's 1. And now to end your lesson, I always like to advise, try to have some games with your child, because learning or focus on academic, it is not easy and it's not interesting. So what you can do is you can have some games with the child. Okay, like this. All right, so you can actually prepare the numbers on the, so you can prepare the numbers on the containers. Number 2. Okay, you can prepare the containers with the numbers, and you also have ping pong. Okay, ping pong ball with numbers on. So you can tell the child, okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this of getting this container. Okay, put all the ping pong balls inside, and you tell them, okay, now your turn. Choose 1 ping pong ball, and I get to choose, and I'm going to say, okay, can you put in the container of number 1? All right, I place it. Now this is also turn taking. Once the child have done, we also have to involve in the game. It is not all the time the child does it alone, so we have to play the game along with the child. Okay, so now my turn to take number. Oh, this is number 2. All right, now I'm going to place it in number 2 container. All right, so again, can you take one number for me, please? All right, number 2, drop it in number 2. All right, and my turn now. Okay, I got number 1. Okay, where is number 1? So automatically the child will do it, or I will do it, because all the containers are filled up. If the child put this number 1 into this container, don't say, oh, wrong, because you did not give any instructions that the child can put only one ball in one container. So if the child put it here, no need to say anything because the child actually achieved. Okay, some things that you observe, they may do correctly or they may do out of your target. Don't make it so confused, or don't make it something that they have done wrongly. So all you need to do is say well done, very good. So it will give them encouragement of do things better and hope for classes with us. Okay, don't ever do things that the child get frustrated. Don't ever do things that child get bored and learning become very, very upsetting or not interesting to them. All right, so you can do this game where you can use these containers which you can find at home. Okay, write numbers. You can also put colors. You can even put a picture of objects in the kitchen and things like that. Okay, that will be next lesson where you're going to introduce other targets towards the child. All right, so these things you can find in the house. All these things you can find in the house. This one, if you cannot find, you can use marble. Okay, you can use pebbles. So you can use what they call newspaper. All right, you just roll the paper. Okay, crumple it nicely. Okay, crumple it nicely, and you write. Okay, crumple nicely and you write number 1. Okay, so you can actually use crumple this one, but if you think you have a cellophane tape in the house, just roll it nicely, all the color the newspaper, and put some cellophane tape, add some more, make it like a pebble or make it like a ball. Okay, you can introduce using this. Okay, if you cannot find this ping pong ball at home, it's just that because I found it, I can use it. Okay, you can also do this. Okay, you can also do this game with the child where you just put 2 containers. This is number 1, this is number 2. Okay, so you can also play this game with the child. Okay, you can play with the child. We have 2 containers over here, and we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to do this. Roll, and then you say, okay, I'm going to see what I'm going to get. Oh, number 2. Then you see, where's number 2? Then you place it here. Okay, again go around. So you can ask the child to do this. Okay, and the child tell child to pick it up. And what number is this? Number 1. Where is number 1? Okay, the child drop it here again. All right, number 1, child drop it here. Okay, when the child drop it here out of excitement, or maybe the child went through long hour lessons, don't say anything that upset the child. You just said, can you try again? Okay, look at it. Where is it? This one is number 2. Okay, where is friend of this one? Okay, you put it inside here. Then, okay, we have another one inside. Okay, what is this? All right, so your child plays it correctly. So this one can be done as the end of the lesson. Make sure the child remembers what the child have learned, okay, for the day, and also something to make the child feel good for the day the child has achieved, and something the child has done some for the day quite interesting. So tomorrow they will wait for such activities with us again. All right, so we can do this. We can actually crumple the newspaper, put some cellophane tape or glue, put numbers on, or you can even use this as color papers. You can actually roll it, and you can use also same games like this just now. You can just roll and say, okay, now pick out one. Okay, this is example, this is red. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, red. Okay, take this. Okay, where is red? Okay, example, if this is red, you just put it red here, blue is here. So you can use all this method for any other lessons that you do. Okay, I'm only going to introduce method so that you all can take this method and introduce other aims or goals for the child. All right, okay, done.